Kaitlin has a new video where she's, I guess, just gonna respond to comments people make about her. Let's take a look.
Actually very funny that people who have followed me for almost 3 years think that they can bully me out of my opinion. No one can bully me into submission. If you watch my stuff, you should know that.
Okay. Daddy Sume says, and I'm the one who's too horny. Okay, Hannah. The difference is I'm not making general horny statements. I'm talking about my significant other. Context.
Hello everyone, today's video is going to be a very interesting and different one. Do you guys remember my last video calling out Simone Biles for her really disgusting pro-abortion views? If you haven't watched that yet, the link is in the description for you to check that out. Unfortunately, it turns out that a number of people who follow me on Facebook actually agree with her. I recently posted a quote from my...
No. Colston, you're very wrong. Daddy Sume says, alright, that time she was bullied by an entire crowd into running away, that doesn't count.
Simone Biles video to Facebook, and while many people did agree with and even appreciated my blunt stance on abortion, 43,000 of you to be exact, there are some that said pretty nasty things that shocked me, so I'm here to address them. The quote that prompted some people to unfollow me was specifically this one here, which reads, "I am not simply pro-life, I am..."
Why?
Because that offends me.
Yeah, that's why I did.
Like her.
So I didn't read it.
Anti-abortion. I support abolishing abortion altogether. I will admit this is something that most conservatives and pro-lifers do not say because they actually don't believe in abolishing abortion. The reason I am not simply pro-life and I instead make the distinction that I'm anti-abortion is because language matters, and I want to be very specific when speaking to people about what it is I am fighting against, and that is abortion. And it's not the type of fighting that encourages regulating abortion with heartbeat bills or other similar legislation. It means advocating for the total abolition of this evil and barbaric atrocity that has been dubbed a woman's right.
Caitlin's really dumb. Huh? So, like, rape, incest, clearly she's, like, against abortion in those. But, like, what about cases where the mother's gonna die, right? If the person carrying the baby's gonna die, and the baby will die too, the fetus, what would be the point of preventing that person from getting an abortion? Because they're both gonna die if you don't do it. I assume that's her stance here? I don't know, though. Speedy Yoshi says, tons of conservatives are anti-abortion, Kaitlin. You aren't special. Apparently you don't remember what prohibition did. Yeah, I assume she doesn't understand or is pretending not to understand that the reason that the right adopted the term, like, pro-life was to make it sound softer and more positive than anti-abortion, because most people recognize that the right to a safe abortion is a good thing. Like, people are just gonna go get them anyway. They're just gonna get them in unsafe environments from people who don't have the proper training, which is dangerous. So, yeah, it's good to give people the freedom to do that. Funny how that works. Weird that she used to call herself a libertarian, huh? Sky Comet Fallen says, oh, poop girl, can you dish it out but not take it? And is the rumor I heard that you met your... I don't want to read that, because that's a rumor. That's not true, as far as I know. Mike Max, with a link.
Madam.
Maybe later. I'm in the middle of a thing. Stromboli says, is she against C-sections or labor inductions? My daughter was aborted, and she's doing just fine. Words matter, right, Kaitlin? Tucker White says, I'll just leave this link here for when Kaitlin invokes God. Skeptic Sanity. Oh, yeah, the Bible about abortion. Field Waddell with a link.
Don't have the ability to make a mask mandate, and tonight I was going to talk about the need for a second high school, but I was sidetracked by, for the boys, pussy, or the idea of pussy, or the idea of pussy. A Mexican is a Mexican is a Mexican. Take her out back, we boys figured, then hand on the titties. Put it in her coin box, put it in her cornhole.
Is this like like a song that I'm unfamiliar with?
Grab a hold of that braid, rub that calico. You can find that on page 39 of the book called Out of Darkness, which you can find at Hudson Bend Middle School in BK.
Oh my god. It's gonna be a fucking book ban thing. Okay, Sume with some kind of a link.
Middle school. All right, not gonna lie, I had to Google cornhole because I have the game.
I don't have to Google cornhole.
In the back of my yard, but according to Wikipedia, cornhole is a sexualist slang vulgarism for anus. The term.
Bymancer says, "You're helping keep me sane right now. My professor is a 9/11 truther and is having us watch a truther movie on Zoom." Oh no, is it Spare Change or whatever it's called? Loose Change? I don't remember. It's the really famous 9/11 truther documentary.
Term came into the use in the 1910s in the United States as verb form to cornhole, which came into usage in the 1930s, means to have anal sex. I do not want my children to learn about anal sex.
Your kids know about anal sex if they're in middle school. Speedy Yoshi says the reason that book uses that word is because the novel chronicles a love affair between a teenage Mexican-American girl and a teenage African-American boy in the 1930s New London, Texas, occurring right up to the 1937 New London school explosion. It took me 5 seconds to understand why. Oh, okay.
In middle school, I have never had anal sex. I don't want to have anal sex.
Then don't. Your kids know what anal sex is. Like, if they're in 7th or 8th grade, your kids have... Honestly, other kids have probably, like, told them, if I remember middle school correctly, other people have probably said to them, "I'm gonna F you in the A," or some other dumb middle school bullshit. Like, kids in middle school know what anal sex is.
The first time I ever heard about sex was pre-K, so I was 3 or 4, on a bus to a field trip.
Mm-hmm. Speedy Yoshi says, "I've never had anal sex. I smell bullshit." Yeah, she didn't prep properly.
I don't want my kids having anal sex. I want you to start focusing on education and not public health.
Stone, you're on.
Officials, you are supposed to be educating our children.
Ms.
Do
Bell,
not
thank you.
teach them
Ms.
about
Bell, thank
anal
you.
sex.
Thank you, Ms. Bell.
Yeah, I saw the Texas doctor. Good for this doctor, by the way. I don't know the name of the doctor.
What did the doctor do?
I think, is it a he? I actually don't know. Yes, he. A San Antonio doctor who wrote a Washington Post op-ed claiming he had violated Texas's 6-week abortion ban now faces at least 2 lawsuits brought against him under the ban. He did so intentionally and publicly so he could help take this to court. Which is good. Good for him. That's brave. Where did she go? There she is.
Before I read some
Sorry, we keep getting messages. Sky Comet Fallen says, "I've never had anal sex." Oh, that was a painful cell phone. Simple Cat Girl says, "Middle schoolers are brutal people." They are.
comments if you do believe that baby lives matter, like I do. Then you can get this really neat t-shirt.
If baby lives matter, why are their heads so soft? Jesus clearly doesn't care about them.
Right now over at lhmerch.com and use the promo code FREEDOM15 for 15% off your entire order. After seeing some of these comments, I realized that the country is in much greater need of pro-life activism than I thought, and this shirt is a great way to let the world know what you think. Now, apparently I've been a little unclear.
Yes, I'm sure people will love to see your political opinions on a t-shirt. People love that. Excuse me, Stromboli says, "I would have loved to learn about anal sex from a teacher in a neutral classroom instead of from Uncle Bud at the van down by the river."
Clear in my messaging because people are shocked to learn, after 3 years of me being a political commentator, that I am anti-abortion. I will own this mistake, and I'm so sorry for the confusion, so let me set the record straight. I believe abortion should be illegal in every single circumstance. What about rape? What about incest? What about blah, 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 blah. I didn't stutter. I said what I said. Every single circumstance. I believe women should be held legally accountable for killing or seeking to kill their child. What if they're brainwashed? What if they're forced to? Blah, blah, blah. Again, I didn't stutter.
Wow, even if forced to, huh? Wow. Kaitlin has no mercy. I kind of assumed that, but hearing her just say it is like, wow.
Consequences are in order for this behavior. It is a legitimate and necessary use of government power to save the lives of children in this country.
Not children.
Who are being slaughtered every day. Okay, now that I've cleared that up, let's read some comments. Starting out, we have the most bizarre one that I read.
Speedy Yoshi says, you sure do love babies, Kaitlin. I hope you're voting for stuff that makes single-parent households with a new baby able to care for them at a lower cost. I hope you're volunteering at orphanages or adopting kids. I hope you're helping every kid no matter what. She doesn't care. She comes from a rich family. She doesn't understand the actual struggle working people go through because she was born rich. E-Tune with 100 bits says, optics. Does she even have kids? I honestly don't know. Nor do I care. I don't think it's relevant to the conversation.
I used to follow you because some of your interviews, etc. were quite interesting and alternative, let's say. But with this, you've lost me completely, unfollowing and never following again. You need to regain a hold on the modern world and all that is right and wrong. Things happen in life, and not everything can be a hardline attitude.
I believe, for one, I believe life begins at ejaculation, so I think Kaitlin Bennett should probably be brought up on charges for every time she's ever made her husband come and didn't get her pregnant. That's a controversial opinion, but it is my view, okay?
Disappointed in your blinkered viewpoint. It's not an airport.
Go to jail every time you've come and not gotten me pregnant.
In fairness, because of the hormones, probably not a lot of motility there anyway, so.
Yeah, but you don't know that for sure.
That's true.
Port Karen, it's Facebook. You don't need to announce your departure. But this comment shows exactly what's happening to the ability to remain rooted.
Nick says, I noticed she didn't say anything about the life of the mother because she doesn't give a shit. Tiger White says, not everything can be a hardline attitude. Didn't you take a literal hardline stance just 10 seconds ago? She did.
And morals and convictions in this country. This person wants me to disregard what I know to be true about when human life exists.
What you believe to be true.
So I can regain a hold on the modern world and all that is right and wrong. There are so many things in this modern world that are promoted as right when we know they are wrong. The modern world tells us to reject Jesus.
Are you touching the earphone?
Sorry, it was falling on my ear.
Oh. Nick says, sniping to say I found a more reliable Lakitu skip setup. I'm glad.
Christ, reject motherhood, and reject the basic biology of what it means to be male or female.
Again, sex is different than gender, Kaitlin. Speedy Yoshi says, the modern world ain't telling you to reject Jesus, sorry. Yeah.
Truth about what abortion is and that it needs to be abolished does not change because of the year we are currently in.
It kind of does. Zeitgeist shift. Human views on morality shift. Especially if you want to be politically successful. It matters if you want to actually win votes. She's a monarchist, so she doesn't really care for democracy, but whatever. Strumbler for Wi-Fi says, I think we should all be considered a generation older. Hear me out. A female is born with all the egg cells she'll ever have. I believe life begins at egg. We should all count our ages, starting at when our birth givers were born. Keep the same legal drinking age, and get lit AF in kindergarten.
It always has been and always will be wrong and evil. The next comment demonstrates what happens when someone opens their mouth without actually watching any of my content. So then you also should protest outside of IVF clinics as well, since they destroy countless amounts of embryos.
I think she has actually said she disagrees with that.
Oh wait, that's right. It doesn't fit your logic. They only want to sit outside abortion clinics and harass females going to a routine doctor's appointment. Real cool, pro-lifers. I actually go into great detail about my opposition to IVF treatments on my show at libertyhangout.tv. If this person actually took the time to learn what I believe, they could have prevented themselves from looking.
You want them to come and pay to visit? In fairness, I don't know if her website you need to pay to watch videos on there. I'm just used to it because John Doyle's does. But, like, I don't know. I think they're arguing just from a position of what a lot of anti-abortion people are.
Being so foolish, but
what's IFV? In vitro fertilization. Felix Night Owl says, I killed 3 chickens this morning when I made a cheese omelet.
Actually, on the other hand, their next sentence shows that there's probably no saving them. I can confidently say, as a woman, I've never gone to an abortion clinic for a routine
Okay, you're wealthy, Kaitlin. Planned Parenthoods offer a lot of, like, women's health services to women who aren't as well off as you. So people go there for various procedures. I don't even think abortion is, like, the thing they spend most of their time doing. I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't care. I'm perfectly fine with abortion. I have zero issue with it. So, don't really care. But they provide other services, Kaitlin. They provide many other services.
Doctor's appointment. If this person truly believes women are getting routine care for their general health at an abortion clinic, they
do. They do.
would call it a doctor's office. This comment is clearly not from a fan, but I'll take it anyway because I like it.
Also, does she think all abortions happen, like, at Planned Parenthoods? Because you can, like, go to a hospital and have that done, too. Like, you don't have to go to a Planned Parenthood to get an abortion. It's for the record.
Just like the fascist you are, can't wait to see what other BS hardline you'll take next to stay relevant. Now you see, I don't care what you call me. If wanting to outlaw
Alright, Poopy.
all the slaughter of children makes me a fascist,
Abortion is maybe 3% of Planned Parenthood's activity. Is there a source on that? I'd love to see it.
then I don't care.
Because that's even lower than I would have thought.
The second right-wingers who actually want to accomplish political goals in this country stop caring about being called names is the second we regain our political power. You can't bully me. This next comment is from someone who remains polite but ends up having one of the worst opinions I've ever seen. Love you,
Wow. I assume you listen to yourself, so that means a lot.
Kate, but you should change your position on this unless you want to see millions of crack babies born into the US who will likely be abandoned by parents who never wanted them to begin with. Giving irresponsible people the right to terminate babies they don't want to care for is better for our society.
I honestly don't disagree with that. They could have worded it differently, but I don't think our system needs more children to be abandoned by people who have no business being parents in the first place. Speedy Oshi says, if you don't care about being called names, you wouldn't be making this video. Probably true.
I didn't believe that until I lived in inner cities.
Oh no, it's gonna get racist. It's gonna get racist!
It's a crime to murder an innocent, no argument there. But sadly, those babies will be born into homes without parents or a dysfunctional home altogether. Why subject children to this treatment? They'll likely turn out to be a burden on our society. That's just my opinion.
Oh, fucking yikes. This person posts a thing to the 3%. Cool. I probably should save this for another time. Yeah, in case I ever need that saved. Thank you.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there. Let's start with the claim that crack babies would be filling our country if we outlawed abortion. If we look at the numbers, that's actually completely untrue. According to the research arm of Planned Parenthood themselves, the Guttmacher Institute, roughly all abortions are sought out because the woman isn't ready to have children or children would change their lives.
That's pretty broad. That could be a number of things. Again, I don't want to go down this path because this isn't about this, but like, someone who's addicted to drugs probably doesn't feel they're ready to have a kid, and they don't want a lifestyle change because they like doing drugs. Those things are applicable, although I don't know what else is on the list. Let me see. Let me see if there's anything for a specific drug thing. Because even if there is a thing that says something about drugs, I doubt someone would check that one very often. Partner, not ready for another child. Don't want people to know I had sex or got pregnant. Don't feel mature enough to raise a child or another child. Husband or partner wants me to have an abortion. Possible problems affecting the health of the fetus. Physical problems with my health. Yeah, I don't see anything
Problems with
about
health.
drug addiction. So the closest thing that would probably fit would be the one she listed. By the way, I don't think it matters either way. I don't care why someone wants to get an abortion. If you want an abortion, get an abortion. It's your body. I don't care.
Health were at the bottom of the list. But regardless, there's a better reason for why this person is wrong. We do not get to choose whether people should live or die based on the value they are able to provide to the world. We
Right-wingers do that all the time.
acknowledge that they have a right to life because they have intrinsic value as a human being. God didn't make a mistake by putting them here. Otherwise, you can use the same standard for killing anybody, and that's wrong. This is the same exact logic used to justify every single genocide on the books. We claim X group of people are bad for society, and then X group of people end up being targeted for extinction. If your logic makes you sound like a genocidal dictator, you need to do some self-reflection. Respectfully. Okay, this next comment just makes me confused. I semi-agree. My problem lies with late-term abortions. If it can survive outside the womb, abortions are simply unacceptable. But it is also about freedom.
Mike says,
In
said
America,
the Nazi. Yeah, wasn't she, like, caught with receipts on the phone saying really anti-Semitic shit a couple years ago? I could have sworn that was a thing. Daddy Sume says the imbecile who constantly does. Yeah.
we should have
She
the
did, because I think she was shit-talking, like, Ben Shapiro and saying anti-Semitic stuff about him because she doesn't like him. Like, that's fucked up. I don't like Ben Shapiro either, but it has nothing to do with the fact that he's Jewish. He's just an asshole.
freedom to make that choice for yourself. However, morally speaking, I find it wrong after the first trimester. Okay, first off, you don't have the freedom to kill people, not even in America.
I mean, actually, in America, you do, depending on the circumstances. Like, you're a Second Amendment advocate, so if someone, like, breaks into your house in a stand-your-ground state, depending on the conditions, yeah.
Support stand your ground?
Yeah, I imagine she's also in favor of the death penalty. I imagine she's in favor of a lot of shit, you know? She definitely didn't defend George Floyd or anyone who's been killed by the police, so... That's hypocritical. But also, you know, fetuses aren't people, so...
Yeah. That's not an example of freedom. Second, what exactly happens at the transition between the first trimester and the second one for you to see the humanity in a baby? Is it magic?
Ooh. Oh, printer. It's the
Yeah,
printer.
sorry.
No, it's fine.
Is there a secret formula that I
No, Kaitlin, see, the thing about the development of a fetus, is that it's a slow process. It takes 9 months. So there isn't, like, a direct line where someone can say, oh, this is exactly when it's like a human being, morally or ethically or whatever. Which is why the right to choose for people who get pregnant is incredibly important, because there is no objective answer to this. This is not a thing with an objective answer. This is a philosophical question. So every individual person needs to make that decision for themselves, because there isn't a right answer. There isn't. And Kaitlin, this is the thing too. Personally, if you think life begins at conception, I disagree with you. But we're talking, you know, philosophy here, and I know there you could. I'm sure Baja's probably over there like, ah, no, here's all the facts as to why that's not the case, because developmental genetics and stuff. But like, I'm just saying, when we're talking about the value of a fetus and its relation to the value of a human being, that's a philosophical question, and no one has an objective answer to that. So if Kaitlin wants to think that life begins at conception, that's her right to do so. She shouldn't be allowed to impose that belief on anyone else, though, because that's not an objective answer. That's her subjective answer, specifically one that she gets from religious teaching. Now, don't get me wrong, the Bible doesn't say that. I want to be clear. The Bible, you can extrapolate that from various different unrelated verses and put them together, but the Bible also has instructions on how to give an abortion. So the Bible's kind of all over the place. You can't be imposing your religious beliefs on people like that.
Ever heard about? Or perhaps there's no consistent logical standpoint with that opinion. If it's
B-ball and chill, thanks for following.
wrong after the first trimester, it's wrong during the first trimester for all the same reasons you can come up with.
And again, Kaitlin, if that's your opinion, that's fine. That's fine. You just don't get to tell everyone else that that's the correct opinion. Tucker White says, Exodus 21, 22 through 23. That's chapter 21, verse 22 through 23. Quote, if men strive and hurt a woman with a child so that her fruit depart from her and yet no mischief follow, he shall be surely punished, allowing as the woman's husband will lay upon him, and he shall pay as the judges determine, and if any mischief follow, then thou shalt give life for life. There's also, hold on, here's just a whole article someone linked earlier, what the Bible says about abortion. That's that one. I kind of wish this wasn't in, I think this is NIV. Or, no, this is KJV. I prefer NIV. And if it be from a month old unto 5 years old, then thy estimation shall be of the male 5 shekels of silver, and for the female thy estimation shall be 3 shekels of silver. So again, this starts the value of a human life. Not even at birth, but after they're a month old. You get it. The Bible, written by all sorts of different authors, different time periods, different opinions, but none of them are really explicitly don't ever do abortion ever. That just doesn't happen. Yes, I'm aware of the trial of bitter water. I don't want to go over it here because I've gone over it in the past. Just Google the trial of bitter water if you want to see the whole instructions on abortion thing. Long story short, in the Bible, it basically instructs priests how to perform an abortion if a wife has been unfaithful to her husband. She does not get a say in this matter. I should point out. So it's not pro-choice. It's just pro-abortion.
We are a human being from the second of conception for all the time beyond that. Now, I will admit this next comment made me a little triggered. Hi, Kate. I appreciate your stand on our Second Amendment rights, but it almost feels hypocritical for you to be so one-sided on this issue. I would have bet that you would have been pro-choice.
Yeah, that seems really stupid, whoever said that.
I genuinely don't understand this one. And I don't support the right to defend yourself.
Maybe just because of the libertarian stuff, because like the logo and the color scheme is the libertarian flag, right? So maybe they just assume she's a libertarian. And you'd think the libertarian stance would be people should be allowed to get abortions, but I honestly don't know. Libertarians are all over the map, so it's hard to say.
Because it's written in the Constitution. I support it because
libertarian colors are gold. Okay, then her thing is gold and black. It's specifically her thing is supposed to look like the libertarian flag because when she started the channel, she identified as a libertarian. She doesn't anymore. She's a monarchist now, which is just the opposite of libertarianism, basically. But, you know.
Self-defense is fundamental to preserving the lives of you and your family. Therefore, it is only consistent to believe in protecting the lives of humans in the womb. Next comment. We need to stop trying so hard to change the law and more time changing the reasons for the law. Change a woman's situation so she doesn't even have to consider an abortion. Abolish the desire and change the outcome for good. So, get this. A woman doesn't have to consider an abortion.
Again, Kaitlin Bennett has been wealthy, or at least well off, her entire life. Her dad is rich. Just want to put up the context in here, because Caitlin's sister has a TikTok where she's kind of spilled some tea on Kaitlin and the situation. Caitlin's rich, which is why she thinks this way.
Who would have thought? And if we refer to the study I mentioned before, most women choose to eliminate their child's life because they simply just didn't want to have them. Am I really?
And that's fine. I don't care. I don't care. And no one else should either. It's none of your fucking business. It's none of your fucking business.
Supposed to believe that ever since abortion was made legal in this country?
Why are you air quoting legal? Legal has a meaning. It's legal. It was made legal. What do you mean legal air quotes? It was legal. Air quotes have specific meanings, Kaitlin. It doesn't just mean thing I don't like.
Programs, resources, financial aid, and help from mothers has declined. I'm not falling for that one. Besides government programs, there are countless of private sector charities that deal with this very.
Kaitlin, the private sector fucking sucks at stuff like this. Government programs have consistently been destroyed throughout the decades since Reagan.
Same thing. However, and you might not like hearing this, but women don't get to tell us to give her stuff so she doesn't kill her child. I'd like to take this time to apply their logic to other crimes, and here's an example. We need to stop trying so hard to change the law and more time changing the reasons for the law.
Is she gonna be like, what, are we just gonna help thieves so they don't become thieves? Yes, we should, Kaitlin. We literally should. If you helped alleviate poverty, it would help reduce crime rates. Because tons of crime is opportunistic in nature. It's not malicious. It's people who are desperate, who want money because they're poor and they can't feed themselves.
Change a rapist situation so he doesn't
of course she goes here.
even have to consider rape. Abolish the desire and change the outcome for good. Or
part of that is honestly true in the sense that you could teach that person when they're younger that they're not owed sex. That's fine. Teach them healthy ways to deal with their sexuality and to not become like a red pill MGTOW type. That's fine. That would actually be a good thing.
Here's another one. Change a thief situation so she doesn't even have to consider stealing.
Unironically, yes. Help alleviate poverty. Give people more opportunities. And you will have less theft. Yeah. Unless we're talking about something like kleptomania, which is a compulsion, and that's also not something that you should deal with punitively. It's something that needs to be dealt with therapeutically. That's something where someone needs to go see someone to deal with whatever's causing that compulsion. Literally, yes, Kaitlin.
Abolish the desire and change the outcome for good. If only we thought about abolishing the desire to rape and steal in the first place. You're onto something. I love how at the end of this comment they say change the outcome for good. I agree, sir, and abolition is the only way we make that happen.
Kaitlin, there has never been a single year in human history, recorded or not, where abortion has not happened. There's never been a single day in human history where abortion has not happened. Abolishing it will not stop it. Period. There's no version of this where you get no abortions. There's zero versions of this where that happens. All you want to do is punish people for doing it. And you would say, yes, of course I do. And I would say that makes you a huge piece of garbage. And I would be correct. You're welcome.
The last comment I will be addressing today is this. I'm pro-life, but also pro-choice. The government should not be involved in medical matters. Also, if we would ban abortions outright, they would still exist. They'd just be far more risky for the women involved. First off, this is exactly why I don't just say I'm pro-life. I don't want to be in the same group as someone like this.
You should, because that's a reasonable stance. I disagree on where you believe, like, the concept of life or human life begins, but at the very least you're not imposing your philosophical belief, or religious belief in your case, on other people. That's fine. We can disagree, and that's fine. The problem is, you don't just disagree, you want to impose that on everyone else. Sky Comet Fallen says, how is she so stupid that she can hit the nail on the head and yet think she's owning the libs? I don't know. Mike Mack says, do these people not learn when they try to get, did these people not learn when they tried to abolish alcohol? I don't know. I guess not.
Their point about abortion still existing if we ban them is true. And if this is their logic, then any criminal behavior that is outlawed right now shouldn't be. Here's a list of behaviors that are outlawed in this country but still happen. Rape, assault, murder, theft, drug and human trafficking, robbery, and many, many more. And guess what? They all still happen. We don't use the
Many of the things you listed are actually immoral and have real human victims. Abortion doesn't, in my opinion.
government or our laws to permit people to commit these crimes. We don't encourage it. We have consequences not only to deter people from engaging in them, but also to make sure that punishments are outlined when they do engage in them. It should be no different when a woman seeks out someone to commit an abortion to end her child's life. The last thing I'll say about this is that it is so incredibly aggravating to see people worried about risk to the mother if they were to commit an illegal.
The mother is a person, a human being, a fully grown person, or at the very least, you know, a cognizant, self-aware individual. They matter. A fetus doesn't. Catherine CD says, I still can't believe she went to college. She clearly didn't learn anything. Didn't she drop out? I thought she dropped out. I didn't think she graduated. I could be wrong, though.
Legal abortion.
Those gun photos she took were her graduation photos.
Oh, were they? Okay.
But have you
E-Tune says, oh god, here it is.
ever once thought about the risk the child endures, whether the abortion is legal or illegal?
It's not a risk. You're just getting rid of the fetus. It's not a child. You can think it is, but that's not your place to tell other people that.
An abortion ends with harm to an individual. The
No, it doesn't.
entire intent behind
This is why I hate abortion videos, because it just gets to know, it just becomes a thing of, no, you. Like, it just becomes like, no, this is an opinion. That's the entire point. It's the entire point.
the action is to kill someone, and over 1 million people die every year due to the unimaginable violence being committed in this country.
Fetuses aren't people. Decker White says, notice how people like Kaitlin never offer a solution to the factors economic and etc. that lead women to get an abortion. It just shows rank and obviously the hypocrisy of so many pro-lifers. Yeah.
I'll wrap up by saying this. In case you still haven't gotten it yet, I am not just pro-life. I am anti-abortion. Don't mix it up and don't put words in my mouth. It's actually very funny that people who have followed me for almost 3 years think that they can bully me out of my opinion. No one can bully me into submission. If you watch my stuff, you should know that. And especially isn't gonna happen on an issue where people are literally dying. If this
They're
makes
not.
you unfollow me at all, make sure you announce it in the comments so the people with a backbone in this country can show you the door on your way out.
That was an abrupt ending. Simple Cat Girl says...
So 12.
Oh, good lord. I hate that guy. Simple Cat Girl says, if we go by pro-lifers' illegalization, we're just going to have Prohibition 2.0. You know, who are going to capitalize on illegalization? let's say the banning, of abortion criminal organizations, the people you're trying to crack down, Kate. Nick says, yet you want to bully lawmakers into submission. You're very smart. Yeah. I hate
actually
Caitlin. There's a reason I don't cover her much anymore. First of all, she's not, like, super relevant. In fairness, not everyone I cover is very relevant. Some of them I just find very funny. But Kaitlin I don't find very funny anymore either. It's just the same... You can predict what she's going to say. It's not particularly interesting. She's just wrong. The funniest thing that has ever happened to Kaitlin Bennett was her pooping her pants, and I feel like the joke is old. We get it. She maybe pooped her pants, allegedly. Anyway, that's Kaitlin.